Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. So it's another story time reading. I will get back to the star sign readings probably next week. We'll kind of see how it goes. Christmas is coming, so hectic schedules and all that, but you know, I'm not abandoned them. They will be back. I just go with the flow, and I've kind of been off on a bit of a different mission, which is really interesting and really fun. So do watch out for a video going up about my kind of adventure that I've been having this week. It's kind of like a little bit of ghost hunting, I guess you'd say. I'm hesitant to say ghost hunting, but definitely trying to contact spirits in different ways. So I've got a lot of footage. I need to kind of edit it and kind of, it's all a bit hodgepodge, so I kind of have to narrate it, put it together, edit a video. It doesn't come naturally to me, but yeah, that's on the go. So what I'm actually going to do in this reading, I'm going to turn on, I'm using an app called GhostTube. You can use it too. It's a free app. And it has this feature where it allows, supposedly, again, element of skepticism, spirits to talk to you. Now, again, just keep hold of an element of that it said hello, but it wasn't a real thing. It was just like a test thing. I'm just setting it up. So yeah, it's... I want to say before I get started on this, if you're easily spooked, if you don't like things like this, if you get in your head about it, please don't watch this video. Let's watch it just as a little bit of fun. We'll see what we get, and I'll kind of explain the cards. And if a word comes through kind of off camera to the side, I'll kind of tell you what it is. I am going to have it off camera because I can't be bothered turning all my different notifications off on all my different apps. So, but you should be able to hear it perhaps, especially if I turn it up. It's going to make me jump out my skin though. So I'm just setting it up. I've just re-downloaded the app. I kind of downloaded it, uninstalled it, and then I've got it again now. So I have read the disclaimer. So it says, GhostTube selects words and phrases with specific magnetic when specific magnetic signatures are detected by your device, these words or phrases generated do not necessarily reflect the original position, views, opinions of the developer or its affiliates or me. Words or phrases generated are not intended as instructions or requests. Never commit any illegal activities or acts that endanger yourself or others, or make any important legal, financial, or medical decisions based on the words generated. So just common sense, right? Entertainment purposes only, as is my video. If it resonates, it's just something to think about, right? It's just a mirror to reflect on. Neither the app nor myself are telling you to do anything. In fact, the stuff that's coming through is kind of like almost like trying to help somebody or trying to save somebody's soul in some sort of way. I got Scorpio rising, death in Vegas. I want to go to heaven, never been there before. So I don't know, it does have an element of like, we'll see what happens. I'm just going to continue and get the app running. There we go, we are up and running. Turn the camera off, we don't need that. So if anything comes through, I'll kind of just make a note of it. Book. Okay, it said book. Thank you. Again, I'm just going to kind of have it to the side. If something comes through and it means something to you, then there we are. Okay, so I did a reading yesterday off camera, a couple of days ago actually, and it was a personal reading for myself, but it seems to be connected to this reading that's on the table for you today. So I had a character in my reading and it came through like this. So it's the Page of Earth. So it was like this. So it definitely has the feeling of like earth sign, potentially Taurus. Don't leave. We're not leaving. Page of Earth, Queen of Earth, stuck in the mud. So it was this feeling of like this could be any earth sign. This is Capricorn, but you've got all these elephants as well. So there's something I want to say about King of Earth here, stag spirit, this elephant. It's like something to do with somebody who's perhaps very, very practical, somebody who likes to come up with a plan and stick to it, perhaps even in a way that's kind of detrimental to themselves, a little bit like full steam ahead, bulldozer, this is the plan and I'm sticking to it. But it seems to be, because this is like coming up with the plan, and then this is like putting the plan into action, like moving forwards. And then it's like, but for some reason, instead of going forwards with this plan, this person feels a little bit like they're going around in circles, right? It's like they had a plan, they're sticking to it, they're going one foot in front of the other, but instead of going in a straight line, they've kind of got this round and round quality to it, which came through as, you see this little bird on the back? It was like getting all tangled up in themselves. So it's almost like somebody, can you see how this, I'm seeing this. It's like somebody in the middle, like watching this person going round and round in circles. So this person was almost like turning round, watching this energy going around in circles and getting themselves all tangled up. It's like, do you know, almost like a maypole or something, like going around with a maypole, and it was like binding them. So they had this whole thing about having to like spin in the other direction in order to untangle themselves, was the way it was coming through. And then it came through then with magical maps, like this is the row that it came through with magical map shifter. So if I show you this and this, like talisman, so it was coming through like, so this is more my energy, the way my energy was kind of playing in the reading. It was like, so if you watch my other Storytime reading, it was almost like figuring out where your guides are positioned around you, figuring out exactly where perhaps your spirit guides, your guardian angels, your ancestors on the other side, like figuring out almost like your little psychic network or the positioning of the characters in this energy, whatever this is. And then it was like feeling around to kind of like turn around in a different direction and reset the course. And it's kind of what I've been doing. So it came through actually, it played out for me with this kind of like, you see, because it's got all this kind of like spinning round, like turning round energy around her, and then this kind of like unraveling. So it's almost like going a different direction or retrace your steps, or you don't know, because then it's like once this was done, right, once this magical map shifter had reorientated, right, reset the compass. Don't reset the compass. Is the compass good how it is? It made me jump. It's like once we'd kind of like turned round like this, where do we go, right? We'd reorientated ourselves. I'm saying we because you were helping me. So I'm talking to the device. So what I'm actually about to say actually is on the phone, if I were to show you this app, let me just pull it over. So if I just show you the app quickly, I'm going to cover up the top in case I get any messages. It has this magnetic, you see just underneath where it's kind of mapping the sounds, there's this little green bar which is a magnetic field, and it does go up and down. Now I went on a little ghost hunting adventure last night. I say ghost spirits, I don't mean to be rude or disrespectful, we've had that conversation, but I found that I was in a big group and the magnetic field was very much around me. I could move it towards other people, it was around me, and again, I'm not going to kind of spoil it too much, I'll kind of talk about it in a different reading, but you can kind of move around like this and kind of like almost like hot and cold, right, and follow the magnet, you know, is it getting stronger, is it getting weaker? So it's almost like that's what I was doing. So instead of it being I was sort of seeing like you know, this thing in a hand, like this instrument in a hand, like or like the compass, it's almost like this was my phone and I was kind of like following the magnetic field, and it did reorientate me, right, it shifted me. So I feel like that's how it played out for me personally. And yeah, and that's how you kind of get unraveled. So can you see how she's all tangled up in this fabric, and then it's like all of a sudden she recalibrates and the fabric starts to fall off. It's like unbinding yourself almost. So that's kind of the background to what's happening on the reading, because I do see a connection between the two. So I do want to also get something from this deck. So I'm just going to actually go whoop like that, pulling angel, spiritual narcolepsy. Interesting. So when I did your spread, I shuffled several decks, got the cards, reshuffled to create the storyline for you, the viewer. So take it if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't, don't force it to fit, and obviously use your own knowledge of your own situation before anything else, right? I'm not telling you to do anything. This was the only deck, well actually there was two decks that didn't speak, and I'm going to use one at the end of the reading for pulling advice, but I wanted to see if it had anything to say on camera. Okay, is it time to go? Okay, we got, all right, so closing door completion. So this was in one of my readings, and it was talking about dream thief, refusal of the call. So it's almost like somebody who perhaps has a dream or has an idea that they want to set in motion. It could feel that they've started to go to stagnate with that King of Earth in the reverse. So it could be somebody who feels like they've got stuck in a loop, or like they're stagnating, and perhaps it feels like their dreams have been stolen from them. But I want to say there's something coming through this reading specifically, which I'll give you the details of in a minute, where it's talking about perhaps two characters, one perhaps who's very grounded and very of the tangible 3D world. Perhaps they don't believe in spirits, they don't believe in ghosts, they don't believe in fate or karma or manifestation and all these kind of magic. You know, anything that they see as like not being tangible and evidenced is not real. So perhaps they ignore dreams, they don't like to interpret dreams, they don't like to trust their intuition. It's like somebody who's very of the earth, right? Very, very grounded, very practical, perhaps a little bit set in the ways. We've got a lot of like ancestry energy with the King of Earth there and the elephants. It's really talking to me about ancestry, your roots, your background, your perhaps your culture, your belief system that you were raised with. It's like somebody who's very set in the traditional ways, but it is causing them to be perhaps repeating patterns or to be very, very stuck and inflexible. So then there's this other character who seems to be much more of a dreamer. I'm kind of getting Pisces energy, doesn't have to be, who perhaps is a little bit more connected to nature and nature spirits and dreams and the things that are unseen, right? The things that can't be explained. And there seems to be this interaction between them. So I want to say with closing door completion and the dream thief, what's underneath there? Lost in space, needing direction. It's almost like, I want to say you have the dreamer character, right? The more Piscean character who's coming through like a child. Doesn't have to be, but it's like, it doesn't have to be a child, by the way. It could be somebody's child. So we could be talking about a parent-child relationship and the child could be in the 40s or something. I don't know. But it's like the older generation and the younger generation is a good way to put it. So it's almost like the younger generation had this dream, or perhaps even the older generation had this dream, and instead of actualizing it, they just felt like they were going around in circles and trapped. And perhaps like this dream was not achievable, like it was stolen from them, like the door was shut on them in some sort of way. This card did come through in a reading a couple of days ago in one of my Storytime readings with this card, and it was almost talking about like clearing the garden, right? So like cutting back the overgrowth and kind of like burning it, or going through somebody's things and kind of like it's got this kind of like sorting energy. Can you see these kind of pentacles here, and then it's like one's been put aside? So it's coming through like you know, sorting through somebody's possessions, perhaps somebody who passed over, or perhaps somebody who was downsizing, you know, an older person perhaps. Just this is reminding me of my own Nana in her last few weeks. She got very, very not responsive, and she at one point she did have her head rested back with her mouth open like that. So it could be somebody who's quite elderly. Perhaps they need a lot of care, perhaps they're moving into a care home or a residential home, and perhaps they have a lot of stuff in their house, a lot of clutter. Oh my goodness, that beeping, could you not? So it's like then, you know, having to sort through the things, perhaps having to go through, pack stuff in boxes, send stuff to charity, decide what can just be thrown away, what needs to get. I'm getting the cold hand here. This is like, I call this Michael, one of my guides, and you know, what needs to be kept, what are they taking with them, all that kind of stuff, what's being inherited. So it has that kind of feeling to it with that closing door completion. So we'll kind of see, we'll see as we go what else we get. The app, just checking the app is still running, they've gone a bit quiet. So the underlying as well, you had the forest and the princess. So if that makes any sense to you, run with it. If not, don't worry. And also to say that on the forest card, I've got this resting, which is going to come out over here. So this kind of shape, which of course talks about the, is it the hypothalamus? Part of your brain, hippocampus, the hippocampus. So if that's relevant at all, perhaps again, maybe something with somebody's brain, the hippocampus. Okay, deep breath, we're going to get into it. So I feel like I'm reading for, yeah, okay, I'm just orientating myself in your reading. So you have this again with like dream thief there. It seems to have you've got closing door, unexpected visitors. I'm just going to kind of keep those out together. With the dream thief, it has this kind of like fairy tale princess quality to it, right? The princess in the forest. So perhaps you do see yourself as perhaps a little bit of a dreamer. Perhaps you do believe in magic. Perhaps you do believe in the fairy tales. Perhaps you do believe in perhaps you are very connected to nature. So if you look at the beautiful image, it's got this little girl and she's got this flower and she's absolutely delighted by this flower. It's like it reminds me of that. It's funny, I was talking about this with a friend yesterday. You know the meme of the little boy who really loves corn. It's corn. Wow, it's a big lump with knobs. It's got the juice. It's got the juice. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing, right? It's like this the pureness of this child who's so delighted by something so simple. And the funny thing is as well, my friend has a very young child, and again it's that kind of like the childish delight in small things. So the baby, they were putting like the cars inside a tube and it was like the most entertaining thing they've ever seen. It's like, I don't know, just again it's like finding joy in little things, finding joy in nature, being happy because you found a beautiful flower. So there is definitely something coming about in with the flowers, especially pink flowers and petals. Can you see like her dress is made of petals? Kind of reminds me of Cinderella, again with that wrapping. So that scene in Cinderella where the mice and the birds are helping us get dressed and kind of wrapping her up in fabric, you know, but it's quite messy, right? It's like not sewn yet. So like, I don't know. And then this was next to it, which again has that kind of like petal pink flower quality. So this card says, I'm seeing this as kind of you or your ability to see the value in this, right? It's like a kid who's wandering through the woods and they found a pine cone and they're so excited because they found a pine cone. It's like, okay, maybe that's not valued by society, but you value the experience. You see the value in just making people happy or spreading happiness or allowing people to engage with the things that excite them. It's like there's value in that. It's like you just want to see the smile on the face. It does make me think of Pisces. Like if you have any Pisces granddads in the family, that kind of energy. So when spring approaches, the flower fairies urge you to spring into action. If there's something you've been merely thinking about doing, then get busy and do it. The ghost tube app has been very, very, very quiet there. I think they're just listening quietly, listening politely, being good children, just listening to story time. So yeah, if there's something you've been merely thinking about doing, get busy and do it. So this seems to be the main message for you. It's actually the first card that came out when I originally shuffled to get the cards out of the decks, and then when I put all the cards that came out together and reshuffled, it came out as the first card again. So if you've been thinking, oh, you made me jump, young, yeah, it's a young girl. Maybe it's saying something like, what did you want to do when you were young, you know, and bring that kind of like childhood spirit alive in yourself. So again, if there's something you've been thinking about doing, perhaps something you've been thinking about doing since you were a child, since you were very young, maybe it's time to do it, especially if it brings you a lot of joy. And then this is also, so you've got motivation and on track. So again, if you feel like been going around in circles, or perhaps spirit has led you in a big circle, you're back where you started, it's like, no, this is part of the plan, you are on track. Do you have anything about that? Anything to say about that one? Nope. Okay. Well, I appreciate your input when I get it. So being on track, being on the right lines, having somewhere to go. But then if you look, this guy is carrying a briefcase. So we're back to this person who's two briefcases, or two suitcases, or two people. Roy. Perhaps somebody's called Roy. Thank you. God, I love that app. So take that if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. So on track. And then there's something happening. So again, you've got this kind of like almost business-like figure, the person who's very traditional, kind of like doing things by the book, doing things in a very formal, appropriate perhaps manner. Perhaps this person has some leadership. But I'm seeing it as, because we have this King of Earth here who is in the reverse, and they're quite determinedly in the reverse, it has this feeling of, again, somebody who's got themselves stuck in the mud, somebody who's got themselves, there's no movement, right? It's just stagnation. Because the King of Earth in the upright is really practical. They are kind of like that businessman energy, or, you know, that kind of fatherly energy of like, don't worry, I've got a plan. I know what to do. I've got the skills. It's like, I know how to change the tire. I know how to put oil in the car. You know, it's that kind of like practical skill knowledge that comes with time and effort. But in the reverse, it can indicate somebody who perhaps perhaps hoards money, because you have got the Four of Earth here as well. Perhaps somebody who, you know, a little bit of a Scrooge character. They don't really like to spend money. Or perhaps somebody who is overly concerned with money, or they feel like they don't have the skills or the practical knowledge to achieve something. I see it more as somebody who's kind of almost, they're so stuck in their ways that they've ground to a halt. And then you have this feeling again of perhaps, because I want to say that you're the stag spirit, you are this card of leadership. And then if you notice here, they both have these what they call antlers on their head, but then you go into this energy. So I'm very, very much seeing this person as this person, because they kind of burned. Take burnt if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. Thank you. So again, I do really see this card as a card of stagnation, because it's like he's been sat there for so long that there's like mushrooms growing on him. Can you see there's like mushrooms on the antlers? So I want to say that here the antlers aren't there, right? The antlers are gone. And then, right, so there's something to that I want to say, and I'm going to kind of come back to that. So I'm going to keep that in the upright, but just bear in mind it was in the reverse. So I want to go back to what I'm seeing as your energy, and this Ten of Water, which is such a beautiful card. He's like, again, it's like that kind of happiness that comes from, I don't know, playing with children or playing with the grandchildren. And it's reminding me of, have you ever like been on a bridge and you've dropped like a flower or a leaf or a stick into the water, and then you've raced to the other side to see whose stick wins? It's like that. Or like damaged. Okay, damaged. So that actually could apply to what I'm about to say. Angel. Thank you. That's a lovely word. Angel, damaged. That's interesting. Again, watch out for that other reading that I have. It's not a reading. It's kind of like a story time of what I've been up to off camera, because that kind of reminds me of something. So it could be, because it said damaged, I'm going to say what I was kind of getting here. So it looks like, you know, like almost like a pearl necklace that's broken. So like a necklace that's broken, or a piece of jewelry, or perhaps a dress perhaps that's broken. But it's like, oh, hello crows. The reason why I'm saying that is because it's like behind you. Behind you? Okay. Thank you. So it's like, it's almost like, it could be a child who's just got so absorbed in what they were. Not a child. Okay. But it's reminding me, just as an example, so I can explain what I'm seeing, it's reminding me of a child who perhaps is having so much fun doing something. It's making me think when I was a child, actually, talking about. Okay, goodbye. Thank you for spending time with me. When I was a child, my mum had this brilliant, it was like a cloth, like banner, I don't know what you call it, and it had an elephant on it. Joyce, thank you. Yes, that was my grandma's name. That was my mum's name. Thank you. So my mum had this elephant. Let me get the story out. And it had all these little mirrors on this fabric. I think it looked kind of Indian to me, but it kind of had these mirrors sewn into the fabric, and I loved it, and I really wanted the mirrors. Like, so I, as a child, as an innocent child who was just doing what was interesting to them and not meaning to damage this fabric, I went and pulled all the little mirrors out because I thought they were pretty. But I did, in the process of doing that, I did inadvertently, because I was so preoccupied with what I was doing, like damage the this piece of art. So it has that kind of quality to it of like perhaps you know, pulling apart a dress, or maybe like a scarf with some flowers on, and pulling the flowers off and putting them in the water because they like the way the flowers move in the water, or pulling apart a necklace and throwing the beads into the water. It has that kind of quality to it of like doing something kind of because it's fun. So and then it's almost like realizing that there's nothing left. So it could be something like giving things away because it makes you happy to give things away. Maybe having some money, having an inheritance or something perhaps, and wanting to, because what I'm seeing is it's almost like he's putting these beads and these flowers into the water. Tunnel, thank you. He's putting these beads and flowers into the water or the tunnel, like the little boy with the cars, right? Because
what is this?
What is this? Well, okay. Thank you. I'm going to continue with the story, but thank you for talking. I can answer your questions later if you like. Him. Really chatty. So putting these flowers and beads into the water and then them like flowing down to the water because it's making the children happy, right? Like downstream, the children are picking the flowers out of the water and being really happy. Or it could even be, have you ever done that thing where you pay it forward? So I've wanted to do this. I haven't actually done it, but I've heard this example of people who they get like, say, £10 notes and put them in an envelope and they like sellotape it to the underside or the back of packs of nappies on supermarket.
Speak.
Let's speak. Is that what you said? And then like they put the nappies back on the shelf so that people who perhaps, you know, they've got young children, they don't have a lot of money, you know, maybe they're working part-time while they're raising the children, it's like those nappies are paid for because like they pick the nappies off the shelf, they see the envelope and it's like, oh, you know, the cost of that is covered. So it's just like a nice way of paying it forward. It's a nice thing to do just because you want to make people happy, just because you want to put some good into the world. So whatever's happening with this Ten of Cups card, because the Ten of Cups is about happiness shared, and he just looks so happy doing what he's doing. I want to say it's like doing it because it's going to make other people happy down the road. Blood. Okay. Blood as in your own children, your own flesh and blood, like family, like your grandchildren. Perhaps. So yeah, putting things into the water, it's going down, they're like picking it out of the water, they're really happy. So it's like you see the value in that, right? You see the value in happiness for the sake of happiness, spreading joy, not clinging to things. But then it's like almost like you got so preoccupied with making people happy and giving to others, there's like there was nothing left. So this kind of netting is looking like
be quiet.
Be quiet.
Be quiet.
It said it twice. Be quiet. Me, or are you talking to others? Because you got really chatty. I'll be quiet.
Blacksmith.
Blacksmith. Thank you. Blacksmith. I'll be quiet for a second to just see.
Watching.
Blacksmith watching. Speak. I'm allowed to talk again now. Roy. You've got Roy twice. Blacksmith watching. Are one of you a blacksmith? Hi. Okay. Thank you. Can I carry on? Okay. It says listening. Which is funny because actually on my notes I've got, because this card gives me a song by Luke Sital Singh that says, are you listening? Keep listening. I'm sorry we don't have forever. So I'll put all the songs in the description box down below. You can have a look at those when you're ready. So yeah, it's almost like there's nothing left on the fabric, right? It's like the money, the bank account's drained, there's nothing left. Or, you know, there's no pearls left on the necklace, something like that. There was just a bang. What time is it? Okay, there was just a bang in the house. Do I need to go and investigate that? Or maybe I need to go and investigate that. Hold on, I'll be back. Hello. Okay, so just while I was just checking, it said, who is she? I'm lost. Oh, it said bless. Who is she? I'm lost. Somebody's lost? Okay. I hope I can help. Let's try and keep going through the reading because I feel like how long? Half an hour already. So the King of Earth. So so it feels like something to do with the way you lead. You understand the concept of manifestation because we have manifestation here. So the concept of let it flow, let it grow, right? And so because you've got this water here and this idea of flowing, right? So it's like you've got to give to receive, that kind of thing, like energetic flow, keep things moving, because you start with motivation, right, and movement, and you have movement here as well. So you understand that you know, perhaps like if you're talking about financial systems, like the way financial systems are run, if there's stagnation, if there's no movement, there's no growth. So it's like you understand that you have to sometimes spend money to make money and that kind of thing. So I want to say there's something where you understand the
Guide.
guide. Thank you. You understand the energetic flow.
Not.
Not. Okay. You understand the energetic flow, and the idea of like keeping things moving, not letting things stagnate. So the way that he's looking at this storm warning card, it's almost like he's happy to see
Speak.
it. Speak. I am speaking. He's happy to see it. He's happy to see the storm coming in because he knows it's going to perhaps ruffle a few feathers, perhaps upset a few people, perhaps create. Perhaps wash things away. It's almost like a cleansing energy. It's like it's going to create space because I want to say this thing about things being too crowded. So I want to say that this person who I'm seeing is you, the viewer, you are now stepping into this leadership position where perhaps you're motivating others, reminding people that they are on track, that they're not stagnating, that sometimes you have to have a clear out to let new energy in, all that kind of thing. So I'm seeing with the stag spirit, you can see how this stag's antlers are made out of almost this kind of like magic crystal. I'm seeing it as, can you see how it's kind of the same color as this? So it's like whatever this energy is that you work with and understand, and this is what's guiding you, right? This is what's moving you forward in a way, like perhaps your psychic ability, your sense of things that are, I don't know, nature spirits, or you know, your guides around you, because you just had the word guides. It's like your psychic antenna is, as somebody who's able to read the vibrations, perhaps read the vibrations in the room, right? The mood of the room. My left arm is hurting a little bit, like when you have an injection. So yeah, it's almost like then there seems to be some kind of interaction happening here between you and this other. You've got sad embrace here as well, which again, I'm seeing it as almost like your energy. So it's almost like there's a confrontation here where I want to say that you are coming in, you as this new battle. Oh my, so some kind of argument or standoff, is it? So it's like there's a confrontation between the two, right? Between, I want to say, you and this older, perhaps a father figure energy, where it's they don't. I want to say that they don't understand your process. They don't understand you. They don't understand that you spent that money to make your perhaps it's something like you spent money on a holiday to make your family happy, because it's, you understand that that's a treasured memory, right? That's something that they can carry, your children can carry with them for the rest of their life. You know, the knowledge that comes with going on an adventure and the growth that they can have from that, and experiencing a different culture. It's like energetically and psychologically there's a lot of growth there. So yes, that money's spent, but the experience has more value. This is the way I want to say you approach situations. But it's almost like the dad is coming in and saying like, where did the money go, right? It's like, where did the money go? What have you done with that money that I gave you? What do you mean you've spent your inheritance? Like something like that. It's like that, you know, you were meant to invest that, you were meant to sit on it, that was meant to be your nest egg, something like that. So it's almost like, because it's like this net is now empty, it's like almost like returning home from fishing with an empty net, like you didn't provide because you got distracted. Like you got distracted on the fishing trip. I don't know, putting beads on the fishing line and making a necklace out of the, you know, it's like you got distracted by the fun thing that was making people happy and you didn't do the work, something like that. So it's got this energy of being shamed, being uncovered, being shamed, being and yeah, that's all I'm kind of getting from that. But then there's something about this light shining, right? Because this light's also shining here. So I want to say there's this moment of almost like, again, mountain is kind of like, perhaps you do feel like this person's perhaps very immovable. They are, you know, perhaps not particularly open to new ideas. You know, it's very much my way or the highway, something like that. But then it's like there's a light being shone in this moment of confrontation, in this moment of being stood in front of each other, and perhaps feeling belittled, or perhaps feeling shamed, or perhaps feeling like disapproval from this energy. You seem to be explaining your point of view.
Second.
Oh, you made me jump. Second. So it's like, just a second. Let me show you. Let me show you what I've been doing. Let me show you what I found here. Let me show you the reason why this matters. Because it's like, you see, it's like she's presenting this. It is a butterfly or a moth, like a little pink butterfly or moth. And she's got her back to the Four of Pentacles. Now, what's significant about that is that the Four of Pentacles can talk about like saving money or blockages or being guarded. So it's like almost like you've got, maybe they let the guard down for a second, or you got under their guard, and it's like you got their attention in a moment. Like you show, it could be like you just open your hand and show them this.
Stop recording.
Stop recording. Okay, I will for a moment. Dog. Okay, stop recording dog. Okay, I'm gonna do that for a second. I'll be back. Okay, it didn't say anything else, but I had a drink of water, so that was good, I guess. So yeah, so it's like showing them, right? Showing them this flower. It's like, look, this is, I've made this. Perhaps this is something that you've been making. Perhaps this is something that you've been creating, right? You've been spending money on art supplies, or you know, you've been spending your time writing a book. You know, it's like there's something that you've been creating with the money or the time, and it's like you're showing them this, and it's like, just because she's got the flower in her hand, right? He's playing with the flowers, and she's like showing this thing. So it's like, it feels like almost like an aha moment, this moment of, oh, actually, maybe I do understand what you've been doing here. Or suddenly, like, I do see the value, or I do feel the energetic resonance of this. I had this kind of thing with my dad and my nana, and my nana was, she was not really very responsive at that point, which was sad because she'd been very strong and independent throughout our entire life. And I was doing my thing. I kind of like held her hand, and I just tried to kind of surround her, and with this love and light energy, right? With this bright, oh my god, up. Okay, up. It said up. Up. Okay. I the thing is, like, the reason why I reacted like that was because when I was doing that, she kind of went like an sound, like a like a like, yeah, like did she say up? Was she saying up in that moment? God, that's fascinating. So yeah, so I had a response from her when I did this energy work. I've gone really tingly. So it's like that. It's like suddenly they feel it. Suddenly they feel the vibration that you've been feeling or they feel it's like they suddenly understand, they suddenly feel it, they have this aha moment. And then I want to say, with storm warning and Akashic field, again, it's almost like clearing the air, right? It's like something to do with like the energy in the air or the atmosphere. Like after the storm passes through, perhaps after you have some sort of argument, perhaps. Damaged. Okay, thank you. We've had damage twice now, haven't we? What can you tell me what was damaged? Can you tell me what was damaged, please? The relationship? Or was there some kind of property damage from an actual storm? Okay, take that as if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. So yeah, it's almost like perhaps the earth, the field, the environment was damaged by the storm. Because again, it does look like you go from a very lush environment, right, where there's lots of flowers. Beverly, thank you. So perhaps you know somebody called Beverly Bev. I always joke that I'm like Beverly Goldberg, you know, of the Goldbergs, that kind of mum's mother. So yeah, so it's like you go from this beautiful environment, like watching. Okay, thank you. This beautiful environment, this beautiful garden, perhaps, and then this storm comes through, and perhaps, you know, perhaps there is this, you know, and again, I was talking about in that other reading, like cutting back the hedges and things like that. It's like suddenly, almost like this very barren landscape. Perhaps being sad about that. So then, yeah, it just feels like something about like, but once everything's cleared back, right? Once the space has been cleared, or the air has been cleared, it's like then the energy can come in, right? Then it's almost like the more spiritual connection can come in, or the energy can move, or you have access to the Akashic field, or a better connection with your guides or something like that. It's like the magic is back in the space because the space has been cleared of, if you think about like feng shui, perhaps it's something like feng shui. And then we have like the child here again. So again, it's almost like, it almost has this feeling of like being seen for the first time, or being seen clearly, because again, perhaps this person, it's just like suddenly they look at you, right? Suddenly they look at you and see you clearly with all the things, like with your clothes, with the things that you've picked up perhaps on your travels. Like, it's like suddenly they see your worth, right? They see your value, they see you for who you truly are, is the way it's coming through. Perhaps even like they see your connection with spirit. Perhaps they actually literally see the spirits around you, or something like that, or they see your aura. With Luna as well, Luna is talking to me again. It just feels like being seen, right? So maybe even like with all this moonlight energy, right? Moonlight here, all these moons behind her, and then this is kind of like outside, and then here it's like stood in the moonlight, right? Maybe having a moment, maybe it's even like maybe seeing like the image of a past one in the moonlight, like being outside and thinking you see somebody, or almost like seeing like with the stag spirit as well, it's almost like seeing a patronus in front of you, or I don't know, it just feels like, or maybe even seeing somebody's beauty for the first time, right? You see this person every day, but then suddenly you have an argument perhaps in the moonlight, and you look at them. I'm saying
Behind you.
behind you. It does creep me out a little bit when you say behind you. Yeah, but like behind you, it's like, I don't know, suddenly seeing, because I do sometimes talk about like the dragons being like spirit guides, right? Almost like guardian angels, like over your shoulder. So I do feel like my little spirit guide, little, not little, is like this dragon behind my left shoulder.
Not.
Not. Is it not? No. Okay, well, it's ruined my fun there, thanks. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's like suddenly seeing this person's spirit or soul, or seeing them for who they are, something like that. And then psychic. Nice. Suddenly seeing somebody's psychic abilities. So again, it seems to be like in the moonlight. Again, the moon is associated with psychic abilities. Like, and again, it's like, do you see like these antlers? Like, this is almost like the psychic antennae going up. So then here with this thinking man, which has been coming up quite a bit, this kind of Aquarian energy, and this being almost like a crystal. It's almost like I've had this thing in another reading off camera about like a bird landing on your arm or something, actually I saw talons, like talons in skin like that, which was blah. But like look at its like little talons. It's like suddenly something land. Maybe you've gone out and had I've done this where I've had like I don't know if it was like a kestrel or like a small eagle or something on my arm. You can go out and hold like birds. So it's like having this thing on your arm, or like putting your hand out and like, how I say, it's like I feel sometimes like one of my guides touches my hands. It's something like that. It's like suddenly putting your hand. Fire up. Fire up. So it's like it's like coming to roost almost. It's like this. But then again, it's like there's something about you being a lot smaller, like maybe energetically smaller than this other. So if you look back here again, because you have mountain here, right? Like this man who's a mountain almost. If you look closely here, he's actually sat on a face, right? So it's like, again, this idea of like something that's a lot smaller than, it's something about scale. Like this King of Earth seems a lot bigger than the more Piscean kind of energy that's coming through. So again, it's almost like this is them, right? This is that King of Earth, and perhaps with it going from an earth energy to an air energy, right? Like this thing about like the space is cleared, like the objects, the things are cleared out.
Help me.
Help me. How do I help you? How do I help you? Tell me how. I'm gonna keep talking, but you can continue talking too. So yeah, so it's like in, I don't know, it's just like calling in a spirit guide or being finally able to see it or something like that, where, or they see it around you, something like that. Um, but it's taking them out of this kind of earth energy, like this very, perhaps being very job focused or task focused or money focused, into a more elevated air energy. Which, that's not to say air signs are above earth signs, it's like just literally like the earth and sky, right? Elevated. So it's like this, taking them out of the practical, taking out of the doing, bite, and into the thinking, um into the mind, right? Into the potential of the mind, perhaps, something like that. But then it's like, they, again, it's this thing about like, they suddenly see, right? They suddenly see you, and they're considering you, and they're thinking about you, and it's like they suddenly see your values. So then you go from feeling like this person misunderstood you entirely to this person's listening, right? With this listening card. So again, I'm seeing it as almost like, you know, like the man on the mountain, kind of like this is you and this is them. So it's like you're smaller, but it's like you have their ear now, right? It's like they are listening to you now. You know, yes, they're still plodding on. Yes, they're still, you know, the same energy. There's still this mountain, but now you have their ear, right? Now they're listening. And so then I'm going to go like this next. So with movement, it's like now there's movement. So now no longer being stuck in the mud, now no longer feeling like you're stagnating. Now you're moving, and you're moving out of this very like muddy, empty, barren landscape into this more lush landscape, right? It's like things are getting going, right? The wheels are turning. And then if you look really, really closely here, it's actually got this little snail on his head. So again, it's almost like the voice in your ear, or like you're the voice in their ear, like they are listening to you. Like the smaller energy is offering guidance to this bigger energy. So it's like now there's this kind of like lumbering forward energy, which is fascinating to me. Just making me think of my grandpa. My dad told me that because he had this kind of lumbering, he's like, don't. Wait, I shouldn't say this. I see it as affection. I see it as, you know, like a human characteristic, like an affectionate thing. Okay, I won't say it though, I guess. So yeah, there's this collaboration now between the two, right? So where there was a mismatch before, or a lack of understanding, or a lack of being seen before, it's like now there's this energy of being seen. It's almost like, I don't know, your spirit guide and their spirit guide. If we're talking about spirit guides, like your ancestors, their ancestors suddenly coming face to face, because it's got this like face to face energy, and being like, oh, hang on a minute here. Oh, hang on a minute here. We suddenly see each other, we understand each other, we can work together here, and we can make something happen, right? We can make things move, is the way it's coming through, because it's magic and manifestation. So I'm seeing, if you, the reader, are associating with this kind of smaller, almost like fairy tale kind of energy, you're the magic. And I want to say manifestation is the person who can make it happen. So it's like their energy, right? They perhaps have a lot of connections, perhaps, you know, they really know. Watching.
What should I do?
Watching. What should I am in my bedroom, yes. Watching What Should I Do? Bedroom. I mean, I don't know. I'm just reading the cards. That's how I get my answers. But let me know if you've got any ideas. I've got really shimmery. So magic and manifestation is like, let's make this happen, right? Let's collaborate. Let's make this happen. I'm listening. Let's move it forward. So then speak, just keep talking, right? That's what I do best. You know, that's what they say about the oracles, right? I was talking about that in my other reading. The Cora, the oracles of Delphi and things like that. So these girls who would go into the caves, right? They've got a cave there. They'd go into the caves and they'd smell the vapors, and they would just channel messages from the divine. But it was up to the priests. They had like priests around them who would like record it and interpret it. So like literally, it's like the muses of ancient Greece, like the oracles. Literally, these girls, their job was just to speak, right? And like the other people took from it what they wanted to take from it. So I'm good at talking. I've got a Libra Mercury placement, so I'm going to keep doing what I'm good at. Just talking. Taming the wind though, almost like taming of the shrew, right? It's like watch your tongue, perhaps. So it's coming through with, and again, it has this the thing on its head, right? So it has this feeling of like, with this storm warning, right? Because this was destructive, like, and maybe again, it's like an argument or something with it being air energy. Air and swords is communication, talking. So again, maybe it's like this is kind of
Be
destructive.
quiet.
Okay. So that's the advice. Like, hold your tongue, be quiet. Thank you for confirming. I do have to finish my reading though. I can't just be quiet for the rest of the reading, but I understand that you're communicating that this is what should be done, right? To be quiet. Thank you. I will try to watch my words more carefully in the future. But yeah, so perhaps that's what it is, you know, like we've got to watch how we speak to each other, something like that. But there's something as well about, it's again, it's almost like she's gathering dust again. So can you see here, it could be gathering entities as well, like gathering, because I've had this feeling myself with, it's like bringing new energies home with me kind of thing, which obviously is a bit of a tricky thing. But it's like energetic clutter, right? Too many voices in the air of the room, something like this. So it's like these kids, see, it's like almost the things getting attached. So perhaps, again, going out on walks and picking up things, but then finding that you've got too many things. So it's like the clutter has gathered again around her. And so there's this energy of like, again, perhaps another need to kind of like go through and process and clear the space. Because then we go back to this Five of Earth again. Now the Five of Earth again is this energy of like taking, oh, okay, that flipped over, like taking a loss or decluttering is the way it's coming through today. So again, it's this energy of like, okay, let's process, let's, you know, go through each of these energies individually and kind of like work out, you know, how they can move on perhaps, or how they can, you know, where they need to go to next, something like that. And then this is where the reading kind of gets a little bit confusing for me, because we end with sacred pool, and again, it's like she's talking to the spirits. Perhaps it is something like the need to have a salt bath if you want to talk about energy clearing, right? And things like that. So, you know, perhaps working with crystals to cleanse your energy, to cleanse your aura, and, you know, release things from you so that they're not bound to you. Could be something. Car. Okay, thank you. Car. Don't. I'm meant to be having driving lessons. Am I not meant to? Okay. Anything else on that? I don't know. So yeah, I don't know, just like cleansing. And then you see she's actually holding all these little pink flowers. And then you have unexpected visitors and closing door completion. So I don't know if these are particularly connected, but again, there should be a video going up at some point about my little adventure that I've been having over the past couple of days, and this door features heavily. I've talked about it in the last reading that I put up. So again, it's like maybe somebody that's followed, you know, like how I did, like followed my intuition into a certain place, and through curiosity and through feeling something energetically like I needed to go there, I needed to help, I needed to explore this because I was picking up on something that other people weren't, right? I was noticing something that other people weren't, and therefore perhaps could assist. So something like that, perhaps again, closing door being like, that's completed now, that's wrapping up, you've done what you needed to do there, something like that. But again, this idea of like decluttering because you might have unexpected visitors, like definitely what I've been up to. Like it's like it's like a continuous process. Every time, I don't know how I have so much stuff in this house, because as soon as I get rid of something, there's like more to get rid of. I'm like, it's this constant processing energy. So that could be significant in some sort of way as well for you. So I'm going to get your card to close out this reading. Ghost Tube, if you have anything else to say, now would be a really good time. If anyone else would like to speak through that device, any other words that would be helpful and beneficial to this reading? I'm just moving my cards out of the way so I can get to the deck that I want to use. Okay, so what's the advice, please? Can we get...
Hughes.
Okay, I'm not going to repeat that word. Perhaps you heard it. Not a very nice word, but perhaps somebody needs to hear that. If you heard that word, starts with A. Boundaries. Okay, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. The word that just came through in boundaries. Make sure people aren't, taking advantage of you in any sort of way. Establish those firm boundaries. And then answer the call is interesting with Dream Thief and Lost in Space, needing direction. So is there anything else, please, from this deck that would like to come through? Keepers of the Earth and take a break. Again, this energy of like, your ancestors around you, and then take a break. Don't mind if I do. Go and have that spa day, guys. Okay, so let's read boundaries. I feel like that's the main one that came through, especially with the word that came through there as well. Oh, I need to find the book now. Okay, boundaries. The problem with this book is that it's not really in it's kind of in alphabetical order, but there's like sections, so it can be sometimes hard to find the page. Where do you need to establish?
Who is she?
Who is she? There is a lady outside. There's a lady picking up her child from...
Bored.
You're bored. You're bored. Okay, didn't want to know about her. Okay, fine. Okay, boundaries. You are being called to create clearer boundaries in your life. This could be with friends, family, or work. Saying yes when you really mean no leads to resentment, which is the biggest energy drain ever. At first, it may only be a little...
I'm lost.
I'm lost. Okay. Where are you trying to go? Where would you like to go? Okay. I mean, we have needing direction there, don't we? Okay. Saying yes when you really mean no leads to resentment, which is the biggest energy drain ever. At first, it may only be a little bit and not feel like a big deal, but before you know it, your energy field becomes porous and you are left feeling depleted, resentful, or even taken advantage of. Saying no and having clear boundaries is actually a spiritual act. The most giving, loving, compassionate people are those with the clearest boundaries, for when they say yes, they are able to give unconditionally. When your boundaries are clear, others know where they stand and you are able to give freely. If you are not clear about where your boundaries lie, this causes confusion, resentment and energetic cords to be planted. If you are saying yes when you really mean no, you are likely needing something yourself. Ask yourself what part of me needs something from them. It could be a need for approval, a fear of being seen a certain way, or a fear of loss. The best way to gauge your boundaries is to check in with your belly. Your belly is the second brain. It has an intelligence known as your gut feelings. Tune into this space when deciding what is okay for you. How does it feel? What is it trying to communicate with you? So, like, how are you feeling? Butterflies? Are you nervous? Work your light inquiry. Where in your life do you need to establish better boundaries? Okay, Keepers of the Earth. Oh, I need to process this video. It's in parts now because I had to stop and start. Just realised I'm not a big fan of editing. Keepers of the Earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you, right? Watching. With the dragon energies, like your ancestors are around you, right? You are so supported. You do not stand alone. You have a magnificent team of helpers, both in this world and of the earth, who are here to help you every step of the way. Call upon them for assistance. They are here to help. The Keepers of the Earth acknowledge the work that you have already done and are ready to work through you. They bow at your feet and thank you for wanting to stand for them. Please don't bow at my feet. I'm not into that. I believe in equality and stuff, right? I mean, I guess it's like a way of showing respect. But to devote your life to watching again. To devote your life to protecting the earth in your unique way. It is time to increase your capacity to receive support in the physical realm. You can come into the form of financial abundance, acts of service from strangers, or people flocking to help you and your work. The only thing that is stopping you right now is your capacity to receive support. You deserve to be rewarded for the work that you are doing. You do not need to go at it alone. Call upon the Keepers of the Earth to help you and your mission. Open your heart and your mind to receive more than you ever thought possible. What kind of support do you need? Call it in right away. Magic and manifestation, right? I told you it's like these little spirit guides are here to help you. Hold the card on your heart, or hold your hand to your heart and say, I am open to receiving a whole new level of support for my life and my work, and I call for it now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then let's have a look at take a break. Life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. So yeah, motivation and forward movement can sometimes be, it can include breaks. You don't have to do everything today. You don't have to do everything
Why are
right
you
now.
here?
Why are you here? Me? Who? Who are you talking to? Who was that question for? I'm here to help. I'm just trying to help and offer guidance and to get people into their own best energy, Okay. Take a break. Our life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. It's okay to take a break and enjoy your creations, to take a moment from your busy schedule, to get off the treadmill of life, to appreciate and acknowledge all that you have created, achieved, released, or experienced before rushing on to the next thing. To be in the moment and enjoy where you are, to take a breath and regather your mind, body, and spirit, to recalibrate, appreciate, and celebrate, to decide on what you really want to experience next. If you take a moment, you are not going to miss out. Perhaps you have just completed a big project, manifested something significant in your life, released an old way of being, or you've just been burning the candle at both ends. Now is the time to take some time out before rushing on to the next thing. You did it. Enjoy yourself and recalibrate. Go on vacation, book a massage, take long walks in nature, go away for a rejuvenating weekend to recharge and replenish. Take a breath, take a break, and breathe. Okay, so that was really lovely advice. So I'm going to turn GhostTube off now. I'm going to give it another minute maybe to say anything that he wants to say. The magnetic field went up. I did move it closer to the phone that I'm recording with though, so just to say. Okay, I'm just kind of moving it around and seeing if there's anything. Oh, not that way. Okay. I mean, there's a stronger magnetic field around my table, but it could just be because my phone's there. Is there anything else you'd like to say before I say goodbye? I got a message from my daughter. Anything else, please? Okay, well, thank you for spending time with us. Sure. You're
Martin.
Martin. Martin could be a significant name. Thank you so much for spending time with us and for sharing your thoughts and your words. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. You can go wherever you want to go now. You're free to kind of go off and check out whatever you want to check out, but thank you for spending your time with us, and we wish you well. Goodbye. So there we go, that was GhostTube. It's a free app if you want to get it. I'm not affiliated in any sort of way, it's just something I've been playing with a little bit. There's lots of different devices and things that you can use on there as well. Like an SLS camera, you can maybe see things, which again, wait, watch out for the video on that if I do decide to put it up, because it was interesting. And let's get you a song. So can we get a song please to close out this reading? Oh, currently the song that I asked for at the beginning of the reading was Across the Universe by Fiona Apple. I kind of forgot to say that, which is beautiful. It's what I've got on my desk somewhere. So it's a Beatles song originally. Limitless, undying love which shines around me like a million suns. Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither while they pass, they slip away across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my opened mind, possessing and caressing me. Jai Geru Deva Om. Nothing's going to change my world. Images of a broken light which dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. Thoughts meander like a restless wind inside a letterbox. They tumble blindly as they make their way across the universe. Sounds of laughter, shades of earth are ringing through my opened ears, inciting and inviting me. Limitless, undying love which shines around me like a million suns and calls me on and on across the universe. A gorgeous song. And so you got the Fiona Apple version, but it is originally by the Beatles. It's from the motion picture Pleasantville, if that's significant to anyone. So what's the song please to close out this reading? The song that is going to have a big impact, that's going to give direction, that's going to mean something. Stay Young by Maisie Peters. I want to say it like Simon would, because I was listening this morning on my own thinking, if I could, I'd be Kathy and make this bus a greyhound, and this sun would always stay down, and there would be so much time for us. My hands out, I want to throw my cards now, making your name our hometown. But all my trains are here, Please don't be worried. No doubt I'll find you in our old crowd. So many things to say if you stay. So stay young. I know that I'm talking too much. Taming the wind. I know that I'm talking too much and I'll get nowhere trying to do it at once. But say that idea again of like trying to do it all at once. But oh my God, I want to be someone. So stay young with me because I hope that it's you that I'll break my back trying to run home to because oh my God, I want you to be the one. Yeah, so I want to say it like Simon would. I want to make my mother feel things. I want to have the marching band, but right now it's just me and steel strings, lonely. So when I miss you, it is slowly because I'm doing good here, mostly on my own. And then it kind of repeats. So really, really cute song. Definitely go and have a listen to it. And I hope this reading was really helpful to you all. I hope that it was interesting, entertaining, helpful, whatever. I hope you got something from it. And leave me a like if you like. Let me know your thoughts, your comments down in the description box below. I'd be very curious to know what you think of the kind of spirit box thing that I've got going on there. I don't know if it's spirit box. There's different voice boxes that you can use. But yeah, I found it really, really interesting. And did any of those names mean anything to you? That'd be really interesting to know as well. All right, take care of yourselves as always. Stay high vibrational. Be kind. Pay it forward. All that good stuff. Generate that good karma for yourself and others. And I will see you again soon. Bye, friends.